we go.
There we go.
Hey, what's up, Jamie? Been a long time, no wrestling talk. A lot of stuff's been going on. There is really no off season. We've had Worlds, we've had I don't know who's number one. We've had all sorts of stuff. Plus the high school season's coming down and the college season. How you doing? What's going on?
Not bad. Yeah, you're right. There's not much of an off season. I mean, with I listened to a ton of the podcasts and they were going all summer with all the world level stuff, all different age groups, seniors, RAF and the other pro leagues being active. Recruiting was it seems like every year we say it's the craziest year since we've ever seen, but yet it seems to repeat itself every year. Uh,
Absolutely.
Who's number one, like you said. Iowa did their Night of Conflict event kind of the same weekend in the same town. Yeah, it's a lot going on.
So if you haven't been paying attention, stuck under a log or something, or out fishing all summer, I mean, if NIL and the new transfer rules have made recruiting, I don't want to say a second thought to getting transfers, but like we have massive transfers this year, like we've never seen before. National champions, finalists, all Americans. And it's really, I mean, it seems like no one is safe. We in the past we would talk about, oh, you know, you can't transfer in and out of Ivies, but now you still can't do that, but you can transfer, it seems like anywhere in a conference, out of a conference. Um, and other than Rutgers Alvarez, it seems like everybody who wanted to get extra years got it. Pretty crazy times.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the coaches are trying to read the tea leaves with the state versus NCAA stuff and the roster limits and trying to maybe get ahead of it and give some people a nudge to say, hey, you might want to go look for something else because we're kind of at our max. The NIL stuff, still kind of waiting to see how that works out with the clearinghouse and what people get approved for and what the numbers look like. It's like very uncharted times, not to mention the coaches that are talking about the potential 5 for 5 rule, but
Right.
they talk about it at a million mile view, and there's no details of what the 5 for 5 really means, and medical red shirts and injury red shirt or Olympic red shirts. Do they still exist? Yeah, there's a lot going on, and it's all off the mat, kind of. And you throw in compliance stuff about what what rules this school will allow when it comes to compliance and RTCs and what is an RTC versus a wrestling club, and there's been a lot going on.
A lot going on. And so I, a friend of mine, well, my friend's brother, he coaches at a football at a pretty big time program. It sounds like this 5 for 5. This is football, right? So all the Olympic sports are just going to get whatever files down from this, and there's some kind of negotiation because some schools are now paying athletes. I don't know if you saw that article. I think we talked about it maybe a few months ago. I haven't
If
heard
you
any.
opt in, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen. Like, it's crazy. I'm sure the coaches don't know what's happening. The students clearly don't know what's happening. They're just trying to get as much information as they can. And each conference, each school seems really different. The 5 for 5, I was just compiling, the list of the all-time best wrestlers as far as NCAA points go. And it's always been Cale Sanderson, and now it's Carter Starocki. And that's one of those things that you know are you used to seeing a guy who's never won a championship, in the top 20, like Dayton Fix, I think he's in the top 10 or something. He's never won a championship, but he had 5 years of finishing what, second, and fourth. It's points pile up. It looks different. Um, so it's going to be, I'm saying, I guess what I'm saying is not only is it different, the records are going to start to look a little different too.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, I don't think you're going to get 5 years of, well, I guess I don't. You have five. I just Googled what NCAA 5 for 5 is, and it says all student athletes in all sports to have 5 years of eligibility to compete. Uh, but it doesn't really say how many years, what that means.
Yeah, I think it was Kerry Collat, and I could be wrong if I'm wrong, but someone on the East Coast had said that kids were going to get 5 championships, and there was not going to be any red shirts. There would have to be some kind of lawsuit to have that happen, and yeah, who knows?
This AI summary does say it eliminates red shirts.
Okay,
It's 5 years of competition within a 5 year time frame. Uh, it gives them an extra eligibility, but it's still in the early stages of discussion and being considered.
yep. Okay, well, you want to jump into some of the top transfers?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously AJ Ferrari. He's a national champion. He's got to be at the top of the list. I don't know. When's the last time we saw a national champion transfer? I don't know if we have. I think Kerry Collat was second. Mako was second, I think, the year he transferred. I don't know. Can you think of any time we've had a national champion
So
transfer?
AJ transferred. Well, he was out of the sport for a year
Right.
after he won it, but he also had wrestled part of that following year after he won it. But who knows what his eligibility was? Did he get a medical red shirt for that year? So was it? Did he truly transfer after being a champ?
Okay. All right.
Whole lot. I think, like you said, never won at Penn State,
Yeah, I think he's second and second or third and second, and then won
something
one.
like that.
Yep.
And Maka was like 1-2-1-2, but I don't know the
Yeah.
order if that's accurate as
Yeah.
far as when he transferred. Uh,
But he's similar to those guys. It's a big deal.
yes.
So, uh, you know, we'll say
Oh,
that we've
Richie
talked
Figs. Richie Figs was
another
national
champ.
champion. He
Yeah.
transferred.
Yeah. I guess it's not as big a news because he didn't do very well last year.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, when we start talking about it, so Nebraska, we've talked about Manning and what a job he's done. Um, Rocco Welsh coming in and kind of forcing the hand of Zach Ryder. Oklahoma State loaded up on the transfer board. I mean, holy cow. Uh, they got Richie Figs, you already mentioned, Casey
Yep.
Swiderski
Ryder,
from,
he already mentioned.
say it again. Oh, yep, Zach Ryder,
Yep.
and then Alec Facundo, right? Like
Right.
that's four big names coming in for David Taylor, and that's pretty
Plus a
impressive.
huge recruiting class.
That's a huge recruiting class. It's better than a recruiting class on some level because these guys already have a track record, right?
Yeah.
Like you bring in those guys of that kind of caliber, and all of a sudden you're looking at something, that even though they are probably on the outside of the top four right now, let's see, just looking at Intermat real quickly, for the tournament right now, they are at number 8 for duels. They are at number 6.
6.
Yeah. So, I mean, if those guys all perform, that's going to be a heck of a team.
Yeah, and they're going to start running into Penn State problems of having depth issues and people transferring back out.
Exactly. And that's one of those things where, well, we haven't seen a lot of people transfer out of Penn State, Evans and Facundo. To me, like of the under the radar guys, I think Evans is going to do a great job at Utah Valley. Right, I think he's going to Utah Valley. Um,
Just saw his name on the list. Where was he?
let's see.
Yes, Utah Valley.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
Following Bear Claw, who did the same thing.
exactly. Who maybe slightly underperformed. He had a great season, Bear Claw, but what Hall is doing out there at Utah Valley is great, and bringing him in is great. Penn State fans are going to have to figure out whether or not losing Zach Ryder or getting Rocco Welch. We'll see who performs better. Welsh is coming in, and that weight class is loaded. Holy cow. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be, is that the, I don't know exactly what effect that is as far as, bringing everybody in like that. But, right now, I mean, Walsh took second to Starocki when he was beat up in a fairly close match. Didn't look like he tried to, I don't know, compete that hard. Then there was issues at Ohio State. He wanted to come to Penn State, and now you got McAnally, Welsh, Angelo Ferrari, who looked really good losing to Starocki, kept it really close, looked really good in the tournament. So you got those three guys. Then you got Jackson Smith, Silas Allred, Dylan Fishback, he's changed up to Ohio State, and then Intermat has Zach Ryder at number 7, which is interesting. And you got
He won
Aiden.
Southern Scuffle.
Yeah, he did. That's a result. Okay, right. So he's not completely recordless as a freshman. Aiden Sinclair's coming in from Missouri. Isaac Dean, who
Coming
had a
down from 97, where he competed most of last year.
exactly Dean, and then those kind of that's and then I don't know Brock Mantanona. I think his brother is probably gonna have a better year than him, but maybe I'm
They
wrong.
both are up a lot of weight.
They are. We'll see how that goes. Anyways, so that's 84, Rocco Welsh. I guess we'll get to that in a different podcast, who we think our finalists are. But Rocky Elam transfers from Missouri to Iowa State. Iowa State picked up a lot of guys, right? So you got Rocky Elam, a 4-time All-American, you know, and as we were talking about 5 years, you may find that becomes more prevalent, seeing that kind of thing. You become an All-American like that. And then Iowa State picks up Steve O'Poulin and Vinny Zerban from Iowa State. I mean, that's two other big pickups right there. I mean, they were, you know, what's the word? Solid
They
wrestlers and dynamic. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, and they both were not really in the transfer portal, but were allowed to transfer because their coach left.
Exactly. Yeah. And we didn't talk about Nickerson. I mean, he built a program there, and I don't see why he's not going to be successful at a Army
Army,
West Point.
because they have a great recruiting class coming in.
They do, right? They've got one of the best ones coming in. So
And
that's
they were able to keep Scott Green.
right, right. And interesting. Yeah, you hear different things. I think Green applied for that job. I'm not 100%
He did.
positive.
He was
Yeah,
one of the finalists, and then he applied for the Binghamton job, and I assume he was a finalist for that as well.
I so the names I heard floated around for that Binghamton job that didn't get it. It's pretty impressive, right? Like that's
Apparently, they got some money behind them, and it's like people saw that way more attractive than the actual town of Binghamton and everything actually is.
right, right. Yeah, I mean Kellen Russell, I think, was on that short list, and then there was someone else. Um, yeah, so
Who is
I,
the guy who's at Citadel? He was a finalist for both of those jobs as well.
yeah, can't think of the name. You're gonna look it up.
Yeah.
Okay,
Uh, Ryan LeBlanc.
LeBlanc. Interesting. Yeah, I yeah, we'll see how that plays out. I'm not quite sure that I think of Green and Kellen Russell as head coach material, both of them, right? I mean, Kellen Russell has been there for the last few years at Cornell at weights that they're doing really well at, and came from a big time program, is at a big coaching at a big time program. So, uh,
Yeah,
see how
no,
they do.
Russell's definitely a big one. I mean, he was a two-time national champ. He stayed at Michigan, coached for a while. He's got the Blair connection. He should be on the short list for a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. Well known. I don't know. We left out Cody Chittum for going to on the transfer portal, going to Iowa State. I'm sorry,
Iowa did their normal, picked up a few as well.
Oklahoma State. They did, right? So they picked up a couple guys, and you know,
Nasir and the other one from Little Rock,
in Nasir
Jordan
Bailey,
Williams.
yeah, But so to me, Bailey's one of those interesting questions. He's like one of those guys, right? Had a breakout year a couple years ago, didn't do as well last year. Can they coach him up? Does the room help? He's going to be working out with Drake Ayala, I imagine, who is a title contender. Um,
Ayala, Spencer, DeSanto.
I mean, that's a pretty good room when you count the RTC. Um,
And who just got named onto the RTC coaching staff? Pennsylvania kid that wrestled 49-57, graduated like 2 years ago.
I'm drawn. I don't know. I missed it, Jamie.
Uh, I'll look. There was definitely somebody new.
I wonder if this means there's more money going there. Um, as far as support for that, because it seems like there was not a ton of support going on for that club. And I'll keep going on while you're talking. You're looking that up. Ethan Styles transferred from Oregon State. He was an All-American to Ohio State. Um, he had a really good year last year. Jory Volk leaves Minnesota and jumps over to Minnesota. Lachlan McNeil leaves North Carolina and as a three-time All-American and is at Michigan. A couple years ago, Michigan brought in what, five transfers. This year, they've only, I think, two. Fishback, NC State to Ohio State. Evans, Penn State to Utah Valley. Virginia Tech, we didn't talk about that. They get Bo and Melvin, but they lose Rafael Hippolito to Oklahoma, which is an interesting pickup for Oklahoma. What do you got?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's a wild card with his style and everything, with jujitsu background and all that stuff. So yeah, he's definitely a wild card for sure. God, I'm drawing a blank on who that the other name was for Iowa that I heard was coming in to coach, but that's fine.
Rutgers loses Dean Peterson to Iowa, so I'm not sure where he fits in exactly, but unfortunately, Ohio, you hate to see the small schools lose people, but Peyton Keller's going to Oklahoma, and that's Oklahoma's second pretty big pickup. Kish, um, you know, uh, making waves there. So, and then Lenny Pinto leaves Nebraska, goes to Rutgers. He's a Eastern Pennsylvania guy. Um, you know, I wonder what's behind that. Is that wrestling near family? They have not done great jobs developing the upper weights. It seems like mostly middle and lower weights, but I always like Lenny. He's an exciting wrestler.
I was trying to think if he was getting pinched out of the lineup or he didn't want to cut. They
Yeah,
have LJ Araju or coming in as a freshman. I wonder if he was going to take the 74 spot with
with Minto moving.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe, maybe. Yeah, not sure. I don't know him that well to know. Um, Chance Lamer, he's got his third transfer, Michigan, Cal Poly, and now at Nebraska. So Manning, getting people in there. And Lamer's a good guy. I can't remember. I think he was round of 12 last year. Is that right?
Yes. I
Yeah,
think he's a second semester guy because that kind of factored into the national dual seating with
I see.
the guys that are eligible first semester versus second.
I think Meyer Shapiro second. He said he's only a second semester guy recently too. I don't know if that's true. Someone posted that, and he did not confirm it.
I know Cornell is gray shirting a ton, like all their freshmen.
Okay.
Uh, I don't know if Shapiro is banged up. He seemed healthy when I saw him at camp this summer, but who knows?
Yeah. Okay.
Might be classes. He might have needed to maybe not enrolled or didn't take enough classes or something.
Yep. What else? Chris Cannon's leaving or going to Minnesota. He's been bounced around. Was he Northwestern Michigan, Northwestern Minnesota? Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. How he still has injuries or eligibility is hard to imagine.
That's what I was saying. Like they're giving it out. I mean, I think Sammy Alvarez is the only one who it didn't make sense to me how they were giving some of these things out. And I'm not going to call out specific names, but pretty pretty remarkable how much eligibility they're giving out these days.
It's yeah, I think that's kind of why the 5 for 5 is getting discussed is let's just end all this noise.
Yeah. So, I mean, right now we're looking at a pretty loaded group of guys who are going to make some immediate impacts. Obviously, you could see at least 4 or 5 of those guys in the finals, right? I mean, AJ and Rocco and you know Elam. I mean, right there, those guys are all projected, in the top two right now. So that's an impressive list of people. And then you got a bunch of guys coming back from injury, like Crookham and Bastida. Um, you know, Elam was injured, obviously, too. Ty Waters, who else? Gadali, Echemendia, which again, when we get down to like improved teams, that Iowa State team is getting a bunch of guys back and transferred in, and they're looking really tough,
Yeah, no doubt for sure. Uh, some of those transfers are going to pay dividends. Some are going to be risk.
right? Right. Anybody else that you want to talk about as far as transfers?
Let me see what else is on here. I mean, Penn State got Rocco. That's we mentioned. Ohio State, for the first time ever, has picked up a couple. They were kind of anti doing it and everything,
Yep.
but they got Ethan Styles, uh, who has 3 years of eligibility, so it's smart to get him early. Fishback, you mentioned, he's in at Ohio State now. That's really the big
That's
ones.
it. How about we jump to the big commitment that happened with Bo and Melvin going to Virginia Tech, right? So if you haven't been paying attention, originally Bassett committed to Iowa. There was some public kerfuffle, I guess, between the coaches and the family, and he withdrew, and then they redid their whole recruiting, and you kind of heard that it would be 2 for 1, I guess, is the word. You get Bo, you get Melvin most likely, and they went
Or
everywhere,
three, three
or
for
three,
one.
right? Exactly, Keegan. So where did you think he was going to go, and was Virginia Tech on your radar?
I thought Nebraska. It sounded like he went on a formal there and then apparently was back in the room the next week on another visit or another recruiting group, whether formal or not. That seemed to be where I thought he was going to land. But Virginia Tech on the East Coast isn't a surprise. They're up and coming. So I think he's he's got that attitude that he wants to be the face. He wants to be the name that potentially puts him over the top to make top three trophy team. So there's things that line up.
Yeah, it's close to home. They've won, I think they've gotten one trophy under Coach Roby, right? I think they took fourth a few years back. Was it 2016, 2017? To me, it's so I mean, if you go back, I heard from people in State College that that was the choice. And that was whatever, is week after, or 2 weeks or 3 weeks after they got out of the Iowa commitment. And then whatever it was, clearly what was the problem the first time around was the problem the second time around. And it was really interesting. I wasn't sure Oklahoma State, then Nebraska seemed like the clear front runners. Going to Virginia Tech. I mean, it's great for that program. I mean, Bourmet has done a fantastic job there, as the whole coaching staff has. And when you know, who's the coach of Iowa State when he left? Kevin
Dresser.
Dresser left. Who knew, right? I mean, he rescued the program from when Brands left. You don't know what's going to happen. And Dresser seemed to have that team. They were in top 10 team perpetually with him. I mean, I think it's
Yep.
great. It's a huge pickup for Virginia Tech. I mean, I think it's a pretty good thing for the sport to have as many teams as possible, having All Americans. And between both Bassett's and Miller, you could foresee them being at least 12 All-Americans, unless it's 5 for 5. You know, when they come in, they're all ready to go. I don't know about Keegan as much, but Bo and Melvin look like they're ready to be top 8, right out of the gate.
Yeah, no, they're definitely weight class fit is kind of something that you got to think about. Bo's wrestling like 150 now in high school, but what is his like? He wrestles 65 for freestyle, so 43. So it's hard to say what their weight is, growth size. Melvin looks like he could still pack on size and be much bigger. So it's kind of early to tell where lineup fits and how that plays into AA stuff. But I mean, they're legit. I mean, they have college opens on their schedule this year for
Yeah,
a lot of those guys. So they're gonna keep pushing.
absolutely. So to me, I know Iowa fans are hugely bitter about this. Iowa still, I mean, everybody gives Brands a hard time, but I mean, Iowa's still finishing second place. Like, maybe would they have a 1/4 place finish a couple years ago, 3 years ago? Um, I mean, Brands takes a lot of heat. They're just not coaching in a fashion that will develop people the way they're doing it in State College. Dresser, who knows what he'll be able to add to these guys? Meaning Bassett and Miller. The
Roby.
question I have is, will Dad be in that room? Like, will this marriage last? Because they have very strong opinions about wrestling. They want a lot of stuff. And my understanding was like that's what the deal breaker was at Rutgers also during this period when there was rumors there. Um,
Yeah, the
and
helicopter parents. How well is that going to be allowed and tolerated?
yeah, yeah. So time will tell. Um, the kid, Bo was on a team that I coached out at Spooky Nook. Maybe it was his brother, and he just kept coming over. Nicest kid in the world, right? Super respectful, nice kid, at least in public. Great teammate, cheering for everybody on his team or his brother's team. I can't remember which team it was, but it seems like a great kid. I hope it goes smoothly for them there. And this is the last, change that happens. And good luck to the staff. Like to see Virginia Tech rise up like, they were on a trajectory and then they graduated a few guys and it's been kind of top 10, but not contending for trophies again. So we'll see how Roby handles it.
And just from a quick Google, Johnstown is not within 250 miles of Blacksburg. So in theory, he's outside of the RTC radius.
Exactly. Although, I mean, everybody knows somebody who goes outside the 250 miles. And what was it, 180 miles first? I mean, I used to hear from the
But that
Lehigh
was part
guys.
of that was one of the rumors of why Iowa wouldn't be able to fly Bo out to Iowa for training and stuff.
Yep. Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't the distance, maybe it wasn't allowed to pay for travel. One of them.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
Now it looks like he can take a 5.5 hour drive and get down there, but he'll still be outside the uh, technically the 250 limit.
Exactly. I don't know any coaches who have turned each other in, but they all talk about it, right? Like when I used to do post-match interviews, you'd be like, he's driving from Jersey west to you past that line. Yeah, 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 yeah. It is what it is. So huge
They all
pickup.
complain about it, but they don't. No one files reports.
Yeah, no one wants to, and I mean, I guess there's some honor among coaches, even though they'll recruit over the top of each other, they won't report each other, right? So
Right.
that's the fun of there's only 80 of them, right? Is it 80 this year? 80 teams? I'm not sure.
It sounds about right.
Yeah. So who do you? So we're going to talk about most improved teams. I see you added some time. Thank you. Who do you have as your most improved team this year?
I didn't look at it much, but let me just look at the rankings.
Do you want some
Lehigh's
time? Oh, good.
Lehigh jumps into the top 10. I don't know where they were last year.
Yep.
That seems like a big jump. Stanford looks like they're jumping
Yep.
up to 12. I mean, it's all it's all early. West Virginia 15, Little Rock 16. It's hard to say. I mean, it's still the top is still the usual suspects. NC State might be higher than they finished last year. Uh, I don't know. I hadn't given it a ton of thought as far as who was most improved because just on paper, it's kind of tough. It's early.
It is early, right? And like the teams you mentioned, like Lehigh, like I don't remember a year where they've started the season ranked in the top 10. Not for a few years. Um, Maybe since Price, Cutler, that era. Even then, I think they were right on the boundary. I think they beat Michigan one year when Michigan was like number 4, but I don't know if they jumped that. They didn't start the season that high. So
And theirs is a little inflated, uh, knowing that Stanich isn't gonna be ready right at the beginning of the year.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, NC State, Virginia Tech, Michigan, Lehigh, top 10, Oklahoma State, Ohio State, usual suspects, Iowa 4. There was a lot of complaining about the national duels of Nebraska being the not being the 1 seed, but again, because of the lineups and who was going to compete, it made sense that Iowa was the
Lamer
one
was
seed.
really the difference.
Yeah, yeah,
I
one
think
person.
the way they did it was match wrestler by wrestler using kind of an aggregate of Intermat and Flow's rankings, and it's like okay, and it was like 5 matches to Iowa, 4 to Nebraska. One was a toss up because they were both unranked, and I think that was because Lamer wasn't eligible.
That's it. So for me, the most improved team is Iowa State. They're coming in at 3. I'm just going to run down their lineup, and we already talked a little bit about um, where things are there, but they bring in Steve O'Pullen, who was 8th at Northern Colorado. Evan Frost was round of 12 last year. Echemendio, he was injured, but he was 5th the year before. Pinero Johnson was round of 16 last year. Vinny Zerban at Northern Colorado was 6th. Aiden Riggins was round of 16. MJ Gaitan was round of 16. Isaac Dean, who had a better season than the national tournament, still was round of 16, transferred out there. Rocky Elam, 4-time All American. I think he was 6th, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, but I might have that wrong. And then you got Younger coming back, who was, I think, 1-time All American. I think he's been around the 12 and 16, maybe. So that's a pretty solid lineup. The knock on Dresser has been that he's better during the season at championship time in the tournaments, and we'll see. I mean, he's got a team to get a trophy this year, and he has a team to beat Iowa this year. Those two, I don't know which is more important. If they beat Iowa, that there's a seismic shift that happens out there. And Tom Brands, even if he takes second at the national tournament, is going to be right. Like it's like James Franklin getting fired, right? He's semifinals last year and a little bad run, and things change quickly. So this is a year for Dresser to make a statement. I mean, he improved Iowa State immediately when he went out there and left Virginia Tech 7 years ago or something. Great staff over there.
Oh,
Um,
more than that, I think.
is it more than that? 10 years ago? Whatever it
I mean,
is,
Metcalf's been coaching with Dresser for how many years?
a long time. Yeah. So to me, this is it. Like this is a big statement year for Dresser to say, hey, like if we're going to beat Iowa, this is a year to beat Iowa, and if we're going to get a team trophy, this is it, and that's going to change his. By all accounts, people like that culture a lot more than the other culture that is going on over there. When with wrestlers looking when inside the room on their visits. So I don't know if that was clear. I was trying not to be too critical, but whatever. Thoughts?
I'm trying to see what WrestleStat has that duel at.
Oh, all right. Now we're getting somewhere. I didn't even think about it.
24-7 Iowa
Wow.
over Iowa State.
That'll be interesting. They have all those. They have everybody in Poole and Frost. I mean,
Poulin, Frost,
loses.
Enchimendia, Frost, Zerbin, Riggins, Gaitan, Dean, Elam, Younger. Yeah.
So, well, we will see how that goes. I don't know. What do you, any thoughts on Iowa State and Dresser and his reputation?
I want to see them do it, like you said. I mean, if they don't do it now, it's gonna. I mean, this is like you said, they're pretty loaded on this team, but on paper they don't really match up that well in the head-to-heads.
Yeah, they got Peterson beating Poulin. Uh, that was a one
Trey,
point match that Peterson lost last year. So why they've changed it, I don't know. They have Ayala over Frost by 3 points. Makes sense.
yep.
Bailey over Echemendia. Uh, they haven't seen each other before. I probably would take Echemendia on that match.
Well, you got one guy coming up to 41, and
One,
is it because of he grew or he can't beat Ayala? And then
right.
Echemendia getting sucked back down to 41. And so you got people coming from both directions.
Yep. Will Echemendia have the gas tank to go with him? On the other hand, Bailey is a really slow wrestler. Like he hasn't let it all out there. So I'd take Echemendia there, even though they've got it otherwise. I'd take Frost over Ryder Block. Um,
Yeah, they have a major there. That's kind of most of their points.
they got Jordan Williams over Vinny Zerban. I'm not sure if I would do that. I'm not sure that that they have a 1 point match, very close. Caliendo over Riggins, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Patrick Kennedy over Gaitan, that makes sense to me. Ferrari over Dean makes sense. Um, Elam with the win, and then
Oh
Bastida with the
no,
win.
they have
Oh,
Indine over Elam.
oh, what the what? Really? All right.
Yeah,
So right now I have it at 5-5. Right. So that's gonna be that's a tight match. I think that
yeah.
Wrestle Stat score is a little misleading. Um, anything else we should cover before we sign off, Jamie?
No, I think that's kind of it for those topics. I
Hey,
mean, who's
state.
number one happened this
Oh
weekend.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Didn't really see much of it, but it wasn't a lot of your real ones versus twos, if depending upon whose rankings you go off of. Uh, there were some good matches. You missed the one you wanted to see because Rainey got hurt in the Bassett match. Penn State got a good one in Sidon, who won the three-man bracket at 120.
He
Jaden
looked
Rainey
good.
gets a pin.
Go ahead. Say it again, Jamie.
Uh, Jaden Rainey got a pin over
Yep.
Mendoza. Uh, Nick Singer, PA boy from here at Faith Christian, looked really good and dominant 12-2 win. And then one of the Mills brothers decommits and commits to Ohio State immediately afterwards.
Right. Flips immediately, and uh, yeah. The takeaway for Penn State fans there is I thought, that Sidden looked really good positionally, really high wrestling IQ. Wasn't like he was, what do you, I would say station to station, kind of wrestling slow and then explode. It was a kind of interesting combo. It's not your normal Penn State recruit where he's just lighting it up, although he did end up putting, what, 13 points on the board? Something big.
Yeah, he was that was his first time on the mat since January or February from last year when he got hurt.
Yep. No, you're right.
Uh, so it was a tough first match, but yeah, he looked pretty dominant. I'm thinking they're hoping he's a career 125 or at least multiple years there, and kind of proactively fill that gap. Assuming Luke is going to grow and move up here in a year or two.
Yep. All right, Jamie. Good talk. Hey, guys, I don't know. Our next one will be our top four and a Penn State preview. All right, Jamie. Good talk.
Thanks.